Well, just outside Washington, D.C. is a majestic and mysterious-looking landmark, a temple that's well known to everyone inside the Beltway, but that very, very few people have set foot inside. If you've traveled here, you really can't miss it. The white and gold spires rise high above the surrounding forest and highways. Today, leaders will rededicate that space following a multi-year renovation. First, though, the public, including Fox News, was given a very rare glimpse inside. Towering over the Beltway, the Washington, D.C. temple is an iconic part of the Maryland skyline. With a striking Alabama white marble exterior, 6 spires, and an 18-foot-tall sculpture of the angel Moroni. In 1974, it became the first temple built on the East Coast and is still one of the largest in the world. At its dedication, a week of VIP tours included President Gerald Ford and First Lady Betty Ford. In 2018, it closed for 2 years of renovation, but COVID delayed the reopening until now.
We have been waiting so long for this opportunity, and we're so glad that you are here with us.
Only members of the church can enter, but to celebrate the rededication, the church opened its doors to the public for the first time in half a century. Inside, it's a series of intimate rooms and spaces where members of the faith gather for sacred ceremonies, like baptisms and marriages, even simply for quiet, private reflection.
Temple is a holy place and a sacred space. It's a point of intersection between our life here on earth and eternity.
The public tours once again drew visitors and dignitaries from across Washington, including Utah Senator Mitt Romney, who brought his Senate colleagues with him. Earlier, Bret Baier sat down with Senator Mitt Romney at the temple to talk about what it means to him as a Mormon and how his faith has impacted his many decades of public service.
Senator, thanks for the time.
Thanks, Bret. Good to be with you.
In the shadow of this magnificent building, it's really quite something as you look at it. You know, you drive down the Capitol Beltway and there it is. It's spectacular.
I remember the first time I came here, I was on a bus with my family and friends come from Boston, and people told us that we wouldn't miss it. Don't worry, you'll see it. And we wondered, we kept on looking out the window, left and right, where is it there? And then suddenly, there's this beautiful white building. It looked like it was in the middle of the road. It's quite majestic.
For someone who doesn't get it, this means a lot to you and your faith.
There's no question. This building is a place where most members of my faith, if they want to be married forever, not just here on earth, not death till you part, but forever, this is where they'll come to have their marriage made permanent. We call it sealing, putting together forever a family, and that's the highest ordinance which occurs in this building.
You know, you've spoken out numerous times throughout your political career about how much your faith means to you. Big speech back in 2007 where you addressed it head on, and you said it's really your center, your heart.
I learned from my parents and from my faith the values which have, if you will, guided my life. I've not always been entirely true to them. Sometimes I've strayed and come back, but I have been devoted to the principles taught by my faith and my family. That doesn't guide your politics necessarily, but it does guide how you interact with other people. It guides the degree of honesty you have, the vision you have for the future, the things you hope for, and of course it's been a defining part of my life.
For other religions, they look at the Mormon faith and have questions, and there's all this kind of intrigue about it, but the basic thing that you talked about was the principles that you live by.
When I ran for office, I pointed out that we don't choose presidents or elected offices anywhere based upon the religion of the person who's running. But nonetheless, we look at their religious foundation to understand whether they will share our values, whether they'll believe in honesty and integrity, family, and those things I think are central to my faith and to other faiths. I love the fact that America is a religious nation, and that people have a conviction that there's something more important than just themselves and their own selfishness. They think there's a purpose of great significance.
You know, you've had some tough votes in Washington, and one of them obviously was the impeachment vote.
Do you believe that Donald Trump is unfit to serve as president and should be removed from office?
I do believe he should be removed from office. That's the vote that I will take in just a short while.
You realize this is war. Donald Trump will never forgive you for this.
There's a hymn that is sung in my church. It's an old Protestant hymn, which is, do what is right, let the consequence follow. I know in my heart that I'm doing what's right. I understand there's going to be enormous consequence.
Do what is right, let the consequence follow.
That little phrase has certainly connected for me throughout my life, which is try and do what's right. Don't worry so much about what it means for your reelection or for your promotion or for how much money you're going to get. Do what you believe is right. And that's a reminder, I think, that is important for all of us.
Yeah. So it's grounding for you when you're up on Capitol Hill dealing with all of the stuff day to day.
The values that you have, the fundamental principles that guide your life, of integrity and honesty, of recognizing that other people are also children of God, that all people are children of God, black, white, gay, straight, we're all God's children. Those kinds of principles, I think, are an important part of both politics as well as everyday living.
You got a big family.
I do.
How are they doing?
I've got 25 grandkids, and we just had our first great-grandchild. So it looks like there's going to be no end to the propagation of Romneys.
The expanding Romneys.
Yeah.
And they take this in the same light? I mean, have you passed that on to them?
Well, it's an important part of my job, I think, as a grandfather now, to share with my grandchildren, if you will, the family legacy. And there are really three elements to our family legacy. Number one is our commitment to the family, to caring for one another. Number two is our commitment to faith, our conviction that God lives and that Jesus Christ is His Son. And number three is kindness.
But for somebody who looks at that and says, how can they be that good?
We're not. There have been times in my life when I have strayed from being 100% accurate or 100% honest, when I've done things for advantage or politics, and I look back on those things now with great regret. And so I say at this stage in my life, not doing that anymore. I'm going to be straight and honest to the extent I humanly can, and I'm not going to worry about what the consequence might be for me politically or otherwise.
In an age of social media where it can get dark sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
It's tough to pull out of that.
I wonder how people who read the comments actually make it day to day. I don't know that I've ever read comments on Twitter. I follow Twitter pretty carefully to see what's going on. I find, getting instant news is interesting and compelling and helps me do my job. But reading comments people have about things I might say, look, I recognize a lot of this is just bots coming from the Chinese and the Russians. Others is coming from disaffected people. Others from, if you will, the person that's living in the basement of their parents' house. I really don't need to worry about those folks. I remember when I was running for governor in Massachusetts, my advisor, Mike Murphy, said to me, look, I'll help you in your campaign, and you can watch TV as much as you'd like and see what's going on in the campaign, but you can't read the papers. And I said, about yourself. I said, why is that? And he said, if you read an article about yourself, you will inevitably start in your next address addressing what was in that article. It may have been written by a 25-year-old young person, may have been off the mark, but you're going to be influenced by it. And so, likewise, reading social media comments, you don't want to do that and be influenced by it. Just do what's right, let the consequence follow.
Not to get too political, but there's a lot of threats that we face as a country, but the social fabric and keeping that together and families that your religion and faith talk about a lot. Where do you see that threat for the country?
The founders of my religion and the leaders of my religion have long said that our Constitution was inspired. And of course, the freedom of religion being central to our Constitution. And so I think at the same time, we believe that having people who recognize that one another are not just citizens, fellow citizens, but also fellow children of God, that we're in the same human family, helps bring the temperature down.
You know, when you were running for president, you made a point to make this speech about your faith. Why did you think it was important?
I will serve no one religion, no one group, no one cause, and no one interest.
a president must serve only the common cause of the people of the United States.
John F. Kennedy, who when he ran, people wondered, hey, can we elect a Catholic president?
I am not the Catholic candidate for president. I am the Democratic Party's candidate for president.
I mean, today we chuckle at that, but back then it was a question, and he pointed out that the Constitution made it clear that religious liberty was part of the American experience and that there would never be a religious test for someone seeking political office. And that was exactly the case in my circumstance as well. I wanted to remind people there's not a religious test. You may not agree with my faith. You may not think this is the most beautiful building in Washington, D.C., as I do. But nonetheless, you allow people of different faiths to serve in office as long as they make their oath of office their primary responsibility and they hew to it in a way that does not vary.
Last thing, I mean, your family's been through a lot of races. They're still into this politics thing?
I'd much rather spend time here than in the Capitol building, but politics is exciting, and there's great work to be done. The country faces some enormous challenges, but good people of all faiths can come together and hopefully address those challenges to keep America the hope of the earth.
Senator, thanks for the time.
Thanks, Bret.
Bret Baier bringing us that exclusive interview. Thank you.
I'm Steve Ducey. I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.